Once upon a time, in the distant kingdom of moonlight, the kind and wise Queen Alara ruled. She had a daughter, the beautiful Princess Leanna. The princess was not only beautiful, but also kind-hearted, loving nature and all living things. She spent her days helping the people of the kingdom and caring for the animals in the forest. One day, Leanna heard a story from an old wise man about an enchanted forest far beyond the mountains. This forest, according to legend, was once prosperous and full of life, but one day a terrible curse was placed upon it. Since then, the forest has been plunged into eternal darkness, and all the living creatures that dwelled there have turned into monsters. One morning, Liana found a strange letter in her room. It was written on ancient parchment and decorated with symbols she had never seen before. The letter read, "Dear Princess Leanna, you are the only one who can break the curse of the enchanted forest. To do so, you need to find three magical artifacts: the unicorn's tear, the phoenix feather, and the dragon crystal. Each of them is hidden in the most remote corners of the kingdom. Only by collecting all three artifacts can you free the forest and bring it back to life. Sincerely, Guardian of the Forest." Liana decided she had to help the forest and its inhabitants. She knew the journey would be long and dangerous, but her good heart and determination wouldn't let her back down. The princess prepared everything she needed for the journey and set off. The first artifact Liana had to find was the tear of the unicorn. According to legend, unicorns lived in the distant enchanted forest where nature remained untouched and full of magic. Liana traveled there, overcoming hardships and dangers along the way. In the enchanted forest, Liana met many amazing creatures, but finding a unicorn was not so easy. One evening while she was resting by a stream, a snow-white unicorn with a golden mane appeared in front of her. He looked at Liana with his wise eyes. "Have you come for my tears, princess?" the unicorn asked. Liana bowed politely and explained her mission. The unicorn, seeing her pure heart and sincerity, agreed to help. "I will give you my tear, but in return you must promise that you will always protect nature and all its inhabitants," he said. Liana made her promise, and the unicorn gave her a crystal tear that glistened in the moonlight. The next artifact was the phoenix feather. The phoenix lived on a distant volcanic island surrounded by a raging sea. Liana traveled to the coast, where she met an old fisherman willing to help her cross to the island. The journey was full of dangers: huge waves, roaring winds, and mysterious sea creatures. But thanks to the fisherman's help and her courage, Liana reached the island on top of the volcano. She saw the phoenix's nest. The phoenix, seeing Liana, flapped its fiery wings and asked, "What brings you here, young princess?" Liana told of her mission and asked for a feather. The phoenix saw her pure intention and agreed to help. "Take my feather, but remember that true power comes from within," said the phoenix, and one of his feathers, burning brightly, came down at Liana's feet. The last artifact was the dragon crystal, which was located in a cave guarded by an ancient dragon. The cave was located in the mountains covered in eternal snow and ice. Liana traveled there, braving the cold and snowstorms. When she reached the cave, a mighty dragon with emerald eyes stood before her. He looked formidable, but there was more than strength in his eyes. There was the experience of centuries there. "Why have you come here, mortal?" the dragon asked, his voice like thunder. Liana, without losing her composure, explained her mission and asked for the dragon crystal. The dragon looked at her for a long time and then said, "I will give you the crystal if you prove your wisdom and courage. Answer my riddle. What is the strongest thing in the world, but not visible to the eye? What binds all beings, but is not held by hands?" Liana thought for a moment. Her thoughts drifted back to her journey, to what she had seen and felt, and then she realized, "It's love." She answered, "It is the strongest and most binding of all, though it cannot be seen or held." The dragon smiled and agreed with her answer. He gave her an emerald crystal that shone in the darkness of the cave. Liana returned to the kingdom with 3 artifacts: the tear of the unicorn, the feather of the phoenix, and the dragon crystal. Now she had the most difficult task ahead of her, breaking the curse of the enchanted forest. As she entered the dark forest, she felt the cold and darkness surrounding her. Liana set the artifacts in the center of the forest and cast an ancient spell she found in a sage's book. The tear of the unicorn, the phoenix feather, and the dragon crystal began to glow. Combining their powers, a whirlwind of light and magic swirled around Liana. Suddenly, the forest began to come alive. Trees spread their branches, flowers bloomed, and animals came out of their hiding places. The curse was broken. The forest was alive and thriving again. Liana watched this miracle with tears of joy in her eyes. Liana returned to the castle where she was greeted by Queen Alara and the people of the kingdom. Everyone hailed her as the heroine who had saved the forest. The queen hugged her daughter and said, "You have done a great deed, Liana. Your courage and good heart saved our forest and brought peace to our kingdom." Liana knew that her journey had changed her forever. She became not only a princess, but also a protector of nature and all living things. Her feat became a legend told generation after generation. The Moonlight Kingdom entered a new era of prosperity and harmony. Princess Liana continued to care for her kingdom, reminding everyone of the importance of love, courage, and protecting nature. And so, in a world where magic and kindness went hand in hand, Liana's story became a timeless reminder of the power of a pure heart and determination.